What is Forever Sabah Institute? Most of you know that there is a thing called Forever Sabah, which is the transformation of our economic model, livelihood model, towards more equity, diversity, and circularity. So then we created Forever Sabah Institute as the learning, sharing part of our work to include other people in our teams, our partners, more and more Sabahans, more and more internationals into our journey. Not by force, by invitation. So talking about a linear calendar, inspiration here is to move back to the circle. And really it was about going back to the cycles of nature. And we were going with the moon. So full moon, new moon, full moon, new moon. So if you see there are 12 months, actually slightly modified because we were not going to do every month, but more or less. Kalau kamu tengok yang bulan besar, itu adalah Mountaintop. Yang bulan baru adalah Valley Immersion. Dia memang sengaja didesain begitu. Jadi kamu pergi Mountaintop, bincang perkara begini, and then kamu pergi Valley Immersion, pergi landscape, seascape, riverscape, apa saja, communityscape. And that was to go and visit various communities, various parts of Sabah. So satu adalah kita panggil vertical begini, pelajar begini, yaitu reaching out to the top. That's why we call it Mountaintop. So all these ideas macam ecofeminism, coloniality, all these things was the vertical journey, the vertical literacy. And then the valley immersion means kamu kena apa? Menyelam, bukan saya menyelam macam kamu like a kerbau in the mud. Soak in the landscape, soak in the community scape and understand it. Our first one was the spirit and practice of facilitative leadership in Jan, where we learn about leadership in a transformed way. So bukannya dari pada top down, bosku punya leadership, tetapi leadership secara menggunakan facilitation. Ini namanya facilitation. Membuka ruang, menjemput semua siapa saja yang berkepentingan dalam sesuatu isu. Semua dijemput. Siapa yang mau datang, datang. Okay, so and then we learn for 3 days apa arti ini menjadi facilitator. Mengapa dia penting? Bagaimana mau buat ni facilitation? So kita dalam itu Mountaintop kita belajar lain-lain teknik. Tapi kita belajar juga mengapa semangat kepimpinan secara facilitative penting. So that was in Jan. Why is it important to create facilitated spaces so all voices can be heard? So, all these voices can be heard. Imagine if you created a space where other beings can come. Then we had another Mountaintop, power, politics, systems, and change. Mengapa ini benda penting? So ini Mountaintop. Kamu tengok kalau bulan besar itu memang Mountaintop ya. Bulan kecil is always a valley immersion. So why do we want to learn about power, politics, systems, and change? Because our work setiap hari memang ada berkenaan dengan power, biarpun di Telupit, biarpun di Kinabatangan, wherever we are, there's power, there is politics, there are systems. And what is our job as change agents? Using facilitative leadership. How do we use it? How do we create spaces, build allyship with different people? So we had people who are in politics, people who understand the power dynamics. We had systems thinking punya orang. So, and then we looked at our own systems. Remember? Okay. And then after that, we were supposed to go to this sustainable forestry, but in the end changed it, right? This is when we went to Kopel. So we learned about the same thing in a way, sustainable forest management, tourism with communities, di Kopel. So that was in the Kinabatangan, it was an immersion. We look at what they've been doing since the 1990s, 1980s pun ada sudah. So what they've been doing for 30 over years. To move away from derang punya linear, extractive, no longer sustainable livelihoods, and how did they make the shift? Yeah, so we went there, we learned about soil. If you remember, we learned about carbon, we learned about restoration, we learned about their traditional, cultural, the component of their tourism. And then we had ecofeminism and deep ecology at the full moon mountaintop. So what is ecofeminism? What is deep ecology? Deep ecology talks about beyond environmentalism. Environmentalism dia macam dari realm human. Dari, you know, in the very, don't cut that tree, protect the tree. You know, it's in a kind of, not say superficial, but it's in a certain level. Deep ecology goes deeper, obviously. It goes into what they call deep time. The length of time it takes for a tree to grow. You know, the length of time, you know, of 7 generations, you know, that kind of thing. Deep ecology really works with despair. That despair is your connection. And despair is an energy and even a power to harness, to act from. And ecofeminism believes that in the same way women are demonized, women are made dangerous, the earth has been treated the same way. So it's sort of a foundation of the thinking, ecofeminism. You know, patriarchy is very much part of that duality. Yeah, the same system of patriarchy would treat the earth this way and would treat women this way. I'm not saying women just as a gender thing, yeah, but the feminine, the female, the whatever identifies as feminine and female. And then we went into the immersion of padi, rice, and cultural revival, which was in the farms di sini. Belajar tentang, in a way, cultural practice of planting rice, which mostly was karazan dusun, murut, a practice originally. And we had enough food, all these things, but those things have gone in the drive towards modernity. So that was that journey, talking about that, immersing in that, learning about opening up land, planting, what are the challenges, the farmers, getting to know the farmers. And then we had another mountaintop partnering with nature. So we had a facilitator who facilitates wilderness punya journeys, Claire from Australia. And we learned how to go into spaces of nature and commune, connect, reconnect, understand, speak with, hear, listen, get guidance from nature. And then we were supposed to go and hang out with sharks and rays, but that didn't happen. May happen next year. Yeah. So we went to Ramsar. It's okay, we still hung out with rivers, mangroves, clams, crocodiles, udang gala, orangutan, and most importantly, we went to the East Coast. Yeah, and we talked about the divide between the West Coast and the East Coast. And then from there, we actually changed the title of this to Decoloniality and Regeneration, because last year we had Decolonizing the Psyche and Knowledge, and we thought we needed to progress from decolonizing to understanding apa tu coloniality. Colonizing itu yang happen yang dulu-dulu, but coloniality is the system left in place even though the colonizers have gone. Because our systems of institutions, of laws, of top-down, all this is coloniality. But education, all these things, and we're still there. We don't even see it, but we're still there. So we were talking about decoloniality and how do we do that? And we asked, what does the regeneration look like for us post-coloniality? So that was a mountaintop. We had a great group of, again, resource people, teachers, to help us with our thinking. Okay, and then we traveled to Sagama, Water, Women, and Well-Being. And so this is to a watershed, a rivershed, Riverscape. A lot of their cultural practices are still there. And so we visited, you visited sacred sites, you looked at what they're doing to restore their punya, river reserve. You look at what the women are doing for livelihoods. And, this whole transformation of what would it be like to protect their ancestral and community lands. And then here we are. Archetypes and the Hero's Journey was the original title, and it was transformed to a rewilding journey. Actually, the understanding of the Hero's Journey can be a little bit misinterpreted. The way when Joseph Campbell, the guy who coined this term, Hero's Journey, talks about it, it's not so much the hero is outside, the hero is inside. He said, and what is your hero's journey? Yeah, you can also interpret it as a rewilding journey. Because we are brainwashed to believe a hero looks like Superman or Wonder Woman. It is our own Sudakana indoctrinated. But in the way he talks about it, it is not that. It is who is your hero. You remember the other day when Laura was working with me? Actually, where I went to and she says, who's my hero? And I was doing my listening, it was little Cynthia. That was my hero. And she's with me. But the language is macam confusing. Hero's journey means I have to be a hero. I have to look like that. I have to fly. The rewilding journey in the context of today and what we're trying to do certainly has a language that maybe is more appropriate. But it's a little bit confusing, kan? If we said it was the hero's journey and the rewilding against the rewilding journey, which one would you have? So yang rewilding ni macam apa ba ini? But the hero's journey pun macam you will be thinking it's something else. You see what I'm saying? So we decided to change the language. The last month in immersion, we were supposed to go to Tongod for Power to the People, which is the first area where we are going to build with our partners, Pakos, Tony Bong, and Green Empowerment, a mini grid. Apa itu mini grid? Grid juga macam grid elektrik, SCSP, tapi grid yang kecil di perkampungan, 3 kampung, dan dia akan own dia punya grid. Dan dia akan jual power sama Telkom. Dia akan jual power sama sawit. Dan dia jadi tauke power. That's our first mini grid will be built there. We were originally going to go there, but then some of us thought it's better to go next year when the project has started. The project has already started on the people side, but the building has not started. So next year when we are building and have to angkat lots of barang, we go there.